She's back to her old ways. Lord forgive me. She's doing the. We must not look backwards. We must have the strength to start revitalizing the effort to look forwards in a meaningful fashion type. Trump line, by the way. I love this one.
Called it wrong. She's called it wrong now for about 8 years. But she said one thing that got me. She said Kamala has one big advantage. She's a very beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman.
Hi.
So I decided to go back and reread the
please.
clause. I'm not saying he's, but I say that I am much better looking than her. I think I'm much better. Much better. I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
He's doing that again, where he's just being Delulu. I'm sorry, dude. You can't say that. It's just like, it's like another one of those things that's like objectively untrue. Anyway. Meanwhile, while that's happening, Harris and Walsh are kicking off the bus tour rally in PA. They are literally going to be doing rallies while the DNC is going on, by the way. They are not stopping. They got 80 days. They got like 79 days remaining. Let's take a look at...
We bonded almost immediately, but actually...
Do we have a link that has the... do we have a link that has the captions? Is there a caption link? When did he start pronouncing her name right? I think he goes in and out. I think he's going in and out. Do we have a caption link or no? Let's try this one. Yep. Thank you, Themasius.
He's like, what's the deal? I've known you for 20 or 30
Here's
years.
Douglas M. Hoff.
Well, you've never been a vice
I got a
presidential
pee-pee.
candidate before on stage.
Not only do I have to pee, but I also have to run the 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. If you no longer want to see those ads, you already know what to do, baby. All you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with Twitch Prime. You can get gifted a sub if you're lucky to use a 3-minute ad break now. Let's get started.
I said, dude, you made it. You got it cut out. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to the next Vice President of the United States, Tim Walz.
Oh, man. It is. Doug gets the bro hugs. He brings it. So, well, thank you, and it's true. And to Gwen and Doug both, all of you, none of us do this alone. We're all in this together. I think this is a room that knows this campaign will be won in rooms just like this all across the country. It'll be run with people sitting on the phone banks in there, dialing numbers, and people picking up the phone on a Sunday and having somebody say, do you have a minute to talk about the future of our country? That's a pretty big step. Pick up that phone and talk. But listen to these folks in here, people are doing it. They're doing it. And the thing I can tell you, what Kamala Harris has brought to this, for so many things, from experience as a prosecutor, to an attorney general, to a United States senator, to a vice president, to the next president of the United States. There's that resume, which is out without question. But the reason they're picking up the phone and the reason that they're standing 1,000 deep in 109-degree heat in Las Vegas is she's bringing out the joy in the hearts of Americans. She's bringing out the kindness that ties us together, the decency, the vision of a better tomorrow. And each of these volunteers and the people who put it on, they all said it. They said it is so much better to be for something rather than against something. To be for the future, not going back. That's what people know. And some of us who have less hair and are old enough, can remember when you could go to Thanksgiving, watch a Steelers game with your relatives, and not complain about politics the whole time. Not be on each other's neck. Because you shared a commitment to democracy, a commitment to personal freedom, a commitment to public education, a commitment to infrastructure.
A commitment to dudes rocking, too.
We don't call each other names. We don't do it. And we don't use the least fortunate amongst us as punchlines for our jokes because they're our neighbors. They're our neighbors. And so, you're getting an opportunity to see the best side of America. And for the young people here, they maybe haven't seen a campaign like this because of COVID, because of things that's happening. This is a chance to bring out that joy, turn the page, and look to the future. This idea of going forward. Doug is right. He told you. My kids were backstage in awe. He didn't tell you they were probably in awe because they could not believe that I got through that thing and through that speech. That was amazing to them. But I'll tell you what, they have felt part of this family because they can feel the decency radiating off these people. They can see the commitment. They know that children matter. They know that family matters. They know that individuals matter. And this leader knows that it's not any of government's business to be in your health care decisions. Those are your decisions. And this is a leader who celebrates love in all forms that it comes by, that we love each other. And for the young people, you hear somebody talking about this, we have the right to send our children to school to be free from being shot dead in their classrooms. That's what it is. And this as a nation can ensure clean water, clean air, and a bright future for our children. So I have to tell you, we got 79 days. And you'll hear me say this. Doug's going to correct me on this. I say, that's easy. We can sleep when we're dead. Doug said we can sleep on November 6th after this election is over. So you may be right. But look, coming into football country and being an old football coach, there's an old saying. You don't hope you're going to win. You prepare to win. And you give it the best you've got. And you know when that game's over, you want to know you left it all on the field. And that's all we're asking. Let's leave it all in the field. Let's get this thing done. Because when my grandkids and your grandkids asked you about this, because on November 6th, you were there, first time when you got to welcome Madam President of the United States, Kamala Harris.
I want to start with Tim Walz. Isn't he fantastic? I like to call him Coach Walz. And,
you could tell when she says, "Isn't he fantastic?" She being so real. She's being so real. Like, that's not fake. That's not fake enthusiasm.
I mean, you know, there's something, I don't know, my first grade teacher, Mrs.
Does she recognize that she's being outshined by Tim Walz? Who gives a? She wants to win, dude.
Anyone who decides to become a teacher.
This is like one of those few instances, as I've said, where like her being a generic Democrat and an empty vassal for whatever works. An empty vassal for whatever like will get her across the finish line is unironically a good thing. Most Democrats at the top of the ticket would have been worried about being outshined by the VP. Historically, that's the reason why they most people just like choose VPs.
I want to just for a moment mention my friend Bob Casey. You have got to send him back to the United States Senate.
Vessel, not vassal. Sorry.
That I was in the United States Senate and worked with Bob, I'm going to tell you something. You know, we would have these meetings where all of the Democratic senators would get together for lunch. No cameras in the room. Bob, almost every time, was one of the ones who would stand up in that room with all the other senators from around the country, talking about the working people of Pennsylvania and why we needed to have you in our mind when we were thinking about national policy every single day. That's who Bob Casey is. Let's send him back to the United States Senate. Chris DeLuzio, we want to thank you. What he is doing in the halls of Congress, again, I mean, you sent some fighters to D.C., Pennsylvania. You sent some fighters to D.C. Your next Attorney General, DePasquale, where are you? I've done that work. I know what it requires, and you're going to be outstanding. So you've got a lot of work, Pennsylvania, on your shoulders right now that you're carrying, and you who are here volunteering to do this work. And we're going to get it done. And Malcolm Kenyatta knows exactly what I'm talking about. I see him almost every time I come into the state. So I want to just address you all right now as the volunteers. You know, Tim said it. This campaign for us is really born out of love of country. We all here, we love our country. And we know our country is going to be as strong as our willingness to fight for it. And to fight for what we stand for. You know, when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. When you stand for working people, you fight for working people. When you stand for freedom, whether it be to make decisions about your own body or love who you love, you fight for those things. When you believe in ending child poverty, you fight for that.
If Kamala doesn't get another plus 3% bump from the DNC in every swing state, it's so over. It's not an unfair estimation.
And these, therefore, are the things we fight for. And that's what our election is about. Our election
You miss Joe a little? Yeah, me too, man. You don't know what you got till it's gone. You want a guy who is a carcass, actually. Until he's gone and you're like, where's my carcass?
As a democracy, we know there's a duality to the nature of democracy. On the one hand, incredible strength when it is intact. What it does for its people to protect and defend their rights, their liberty, and their freedom. Incredibly strong and incredibly fragile. It is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. And that's what this campaign is about. This campaign is a recognition.
You never know the last time you will see somebody, like you never know the last time you will pick up your child. That's crazy.
That has taken place, I think, which is to suggest that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, when what we know is the real and true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up.
Yo, off script. When she goes off script, she does the rambling stuff a lot.
Strength looks like. That's what strength looks like.
She's back to her old ways. Lord forgive me. She's doing the we must not look backwards. We must have the strength to start revitalizing the effort to look forwards in a meaningful fashion type.
What we are about. We know what we stand for. And one of the beautiful things about these next 79 days is
she's back. She's unburdened. She's unburdened by what has been.
Let's build community.
And burdened by what is to become.
Let's reinforce community.
I can see it. I see it.
You all as volunteers, what you know, and we're going to spread the word, is how you can look at the face of a perfect stranger and see in their face a neighbor. That we see in each other our connection, our interdependence, what we see in each other, which fortifies and reinforces that the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. That's what this campaign is about. Yes, it is about winning, and we will win. And we will win. And we will win. God willing. And through these next 79 days, we will continue to build community, build coalitions, and remind each other we are all in this together. So I thank you all so very much for what you are doing. Now let's get back to work, shall we?
You think DNC protests are going to be very disruptive? How much do I believe Kamala is going to have? How much is she going to move on Gaza? I think right now, as it seems, considering that there are, in air quotes, ceasefire negotiations that are ongoing, which, by the way, seemingly are not very productive. Okay. So far, not so good. In the first 2 days, there was actually, in the first 2 days of the ceasefire negotiations, there was actually some momentum leading up to the ceasefire convos. America said that they got Israel to basically align on key high profile hostages in Israeli detention that they would release. That seemed like a good thing. Hamas and Hamas officials said that they were not going to participate in the ceasefire conversations, which of course wasn't like entirely correct. They were just doing shuttle diplomacy. Like they were talking through intermediaries as they've done before. Israel's goals for the ceasefire negotiations have basically been to reiterate that, you know, it's not a real ceasefire and that they get to blow Gaza to smithereens after they extract all the hostages, which obviously is not a tenable position. And all the while Israel is supposedly having these ceasefires, it is hilarious that people try to go, oh, actually the pro-Palestinian side is very black, sweetie. Shut the up. You suck my, okay? Anyone that falls for that is the loser on the planet. I'm sorry. If you are like, if you're pro-Palestinian, okay? If you're pro-Palestinian emancipation and you watch one TikTok that is massaged in a certain way and it like literally primes you into being like, oh yeah, well, my conditional loyalty or my conditional allegiance is totally transactional. Actually, allyship is transactional to me. And I've decided that pro-Palestinians are anti-black. Like, then you're oblivious to the reality, dumb. Get out of here. Get this idiotic psyop out of here, dude. Shut the up.
Politics now.
Anyway, Pennsylvania takes center stage with visits by both candidates.
As the presidential candidates focus their energies on Pennsylvania, seen as a key state to winning the White House in November. And ABC White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks joined.
She's not really random. There was a huge controversy surrounding her. No, she is random. You want to know why she's random? Because she's a random TikToker whose name I've never heard in my entire life. Okay? So I'm sorry. It is a random TikTok narrative. I don't give a f about one random TikToker's huge controversy with a couple million followers. Like, you're insane, dude. Charlie D'Amelio would not even move the needle in this situation, okay? What the f are you talking about, dude? What are we talking about? This is insane. I'm not saying that, like, that random TikToker is doing a psyop. I'm saying that, like, all of the drama surrounding a random TikToker is a very obvious psyop, okay? Yeah. Look, this is... If every Palestinian, if every Hamas member said that M-word 10 times a day, Palestinians still wouldn't deserve the, like, I know that is a ridiculous thing to mention, but it's true. Like, the idea that, like, it is no different than people being like, wow, dude, some Palestinians are very anti-gay. It's like, okay, what about the gay Palestinians are being like, what are you talking about? I guess they deserve that. My bad, bro. My bad. Like, sorry, sweetie, that will not stop. Okay. I've decided that the pro-Palestinian movement in the Western world is actually anti-black, sweaty. Oh my God, what a laughable notion, dude. Like, these are some of the most diverse crowds of people. Like, it's one of the most diverse groups of people in terms of like the pro-Palestinian emancipation because it touches like every part of intersectionality, literally.
Joins us with the latest. Mary Alice, good morning.
Yeah, well, good morning. Both Democrats and Republicans really zeroing in on the economy this week, trading attacks over who has the best economic proposals. Today, Vice President Harris and Governor Walz will be in Western Pennsylvania on a new bus tour before heading to Chicago. This morning, all eyes on Pennsylvania, where Vice President Kamala Harris is set to debut a new campaign bus on the eve of the Democratic National Convention. Former President Donald Trump also spending the weekend in the key battleground state.
I will rapidly drive prices down and we will make America affordable again.
Offering few specifics on what he would try to do to bring down costs, but upping his attacks on Harris's economic proposals.
She went full communist.
Harris this week blamed corporations.
That was really awesome. Have you guys seen what is this? What is this? What the f is this? I wouldn't hold my breath on a 1 million follower TikToker because this is how consequential a 60 million follower TikToker is. Like,
let me hear say
what is this? This person has 16 million followers on TikTok and nobody showed up to her meet and greet. What? Anyway, okay, we're done with the TikTok portion, please. Oh my God. Did you guys see Trump talking about how if you vote for Kamala Harris, everyone will get health care? I love that. These guys are so brain broken, bro. You vote for Kamala Harris, everyone's getting health care. A nightmare scenario. Can you imagine how bad it would be for every American to get health care? Terrifying reality, folks. Everyone knows Americans are better off without health care.
Reparations for price gouging and promised penalties for them to try to drive down grocery costs, as well as new funding to work on the housing crisis. Republicans pouncing, saying government spending has led to inflation. As a pitch to bring back jobs, Trump pushing for tariffs on products coming from overseas.
I want to cut taxes on Americans while putting tariffs on China and foreign countries to bring our jobs back home to Pennsylvania.
Trump spending much of his remarks commenting on Harris's looks.
They said, no, her biggest advantage is that she's a beautiful woman. I'm going, huh. I never thought of that. I'm better looking than she is.
Some of his supporters saying he should lay off the personal attacks.
Let's talk about, the facts of what's going on in the country, the issues. He does need to ease up on that a little bit.
Harris's spokesperson in a statement writing, he resorts to lies, name-calling, and confused rants. The more Americans hear Trump speak, the clearer the choice is this November. Her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, campaigning in Nebraska, where he was born and raised.
I graduated from a town of 400 named Butte. I wouldn't trade growing up in that town for anything in the world. Spent my summers working on the farms.
Now, President Biden and the First Lady will kick off the Democratic Convention on Monday. They will formally turn over the week's events and the party to Vice President Harris. Now, the president's team argued that the president should actually get credit for his confidence in Harris, his quick endorsement of her, that helped Democrats avoid a really messy convention. Will.
All right, Mary Alice Parks for us in Washington. Thank you. And ABC News will host the first presidential debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. It'll take place on September 10th in Philadelphia's National Constitution Center, beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern. Our own David Muir and Lindsay Davis are the moderators, and it's live on ABC and streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
For Democrats.